My husband left me for a hot girl from the internet and disappeared for 8 years. Now he claims he has a proposal for me. I'm 40 years old. It's hard to make sense of a recent decision I made about my family, and I'd like to hear others' opinions. I'll start with the fact that my life turned upside down 8 years ago, when my husband Robert suddenly announced that he was leaving me and our children. He had met some hot girl online and fallen in love with her. His decision hit me like a bolt from the blue and left me completely stunned. Robert had been acting distant and unlike himself for several weeks before, but I chalked it up to work-related stress. We had been married for over 10 years and had always supported each other through everything. I had known Robert for half my life, and together we had built a family. The thought of him cheating had never even crossed my mind. One evening, Robert finally admitted that he had met someone. Those words shattered my heart. He said her name was Isabella, and she was the hottest chick he had ever seen. They had been talking for the past 3 months and had grown so close that he realized he was unhappy in our marriage. Every word felt like a knife, and inside me raged a storm of anger and despair. He kept insisting that he still loved me and the kids, but couldn't deny his feelings for Isabella. He said he needed to meet her in person to see if they had a future together. I was overwhelmed by a whirlwind of emotions and couldn't fully grasp what was happening. It felt like the walls of our home were closing in on me. With a trembling voice, I asked if he was leaving me and the kids for this woman. He slowly nodded, saying that while he didn't expect me to understand, he had to do this for himself. He explained that he had thought about it for a long time and was going to meet her to start a new life. He said he would support us financially as much as he could, but he needed to follow his heart and meet the love of his life. My world collapsed. I just couldn't believe my husband was leaving me and our kids for some woman he had never even met in person. At first, I wanted to scream, beg, do anything to make him stay. But when I looked into his eyes, I realized he had already made his choice and there was no turning back. Robert moved out the following week, leaving me to explain to our children that their father wasn't coming back. 9-year-old Emily asked 1,000 questions, but I had no answers. 4-year-old Nathan couldn't fully understand what was going on, but looked at me as if he somehow knew something terrible had happened. At that time, I felt empty and broken, and only the kids kept me from completely drowning in my grief. When I first told my family about Robert, their reaction was the same as mine. They simply couldn't understand how my husband could do this after so many years together. My parents wanted me to take him to court, but at that moment, I had neither the strength nor the grounds to do so, and I still hoped he would come back to us. Robert's parents looked completely helpless and devastated when they learned that their son had left us. They called him many times, begging him to return, but he told them the same story he told me. Eventually, days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. I had to piece my life back together for myself and my children. Our family and friends surrounded us with support and offered help during those hard times. I focused on finding a job to create a stable environment for Emily and Nathan, but the pain of my husband's betrayal never went away. Throughout that time, Robert's parents were a huge help. They supported us financially and looked after the kids when I needed a break. 8 years have passed since then, and Robert's presence in our lives has faded into a distant memory. He occasionally sent money, but that was the extent of his involvement. He never contacted me or the kids. Over the years, I effectively became a single mother, working tirelessly to provide for my children and surround them with the love and care they deserved. Although Emily sometimes remembered her father, over time she stopped trying to reach out and learned to speak of him less and less. Nathan, being much younger when his father left, never talked about him at all. Despite the pain of loss, they both grew up to be wonderful people. Recently, Robert's father suddenly passed away, and we all attended the funeral. Later, the family lawyer told me he wanted to speak with me about the will. He explained that Robert's father had left some money to his grandchildren. It wasn't a huge sum, but it was enough to cover their college tuition. I shared the news with the kids, telling them they wouldn't have to worry about education costs anymore. Their faces lit up with joy, and seeing them so happy was truly touching. It felt like a huge weight had finally been lifted from our shoulders. After a long period of uncertainty, everything finally seemed to be settling down. Last week, I got a call from an unknown number. To my surprise, it was Robert on the other end of the line. A wave of conflicting emotions washed over me, and I was speechless hearing his voice after 8 years. He hesitated before saying he wanted to meet with me urgently. Confused, I asked what this was about. He admitted that he wanted to discuss some kind of proposal with me and kept begging to meet. I couldn't understand why he was calling me now, after all these years. His persistence was hard to ignore, so I took some time to think and eventually agreed, cautiously, to meet him alone. We arranged to meet at a cafe near my office. After hanging up, my head was spinning with questions and doubts, leaving me anxiously awaiting our first meeting in so many years. I decided not to tell the kids anything until I understood what kind of proposal their father was so eager to discuss.